Gun Shalom Akim. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Rawchaa, Qadash. Double honors to the elder apostles of great Millstone who teach and rule well, and Shalom to the sincere Akim, spreading truth and sincerity. Shalom. In this video, I want to talk about the Liver King, who is a man that has increased in popularity in the last couple of months. And what I actually want to go into, to be more specific, is the fact that he really shows you the spirit that Esau, bears. He really shows you the spirit that Esau has, which he has been given through the spirit and power of Yahawashi Yahawashi. So this is a man. His name is like Brian Johnson. He's an entrepreneur, and he promotes a certain lifestyle. His name Liver King, is actually part of what he actually eats. He eats livers, man, liver, and kind of all kind of organ foods. Raw. Sometimes cooked. You see. So it says meet Liver King. It says Liver King has dedicated the past 20 years to reviving the primal pattern that progressed the sole surviving species of genus Homo. Which the theory that he comes with is the fact that we our basically our genetics and our um, human being stems from evolution, that we come from basically monkeys that has have evolved over the past years, over generation upon generation upon generation upon generation. You see, but that's not the case, because when the Most High created man, he created them to be, as we know how humans look like in this day and age. But we also understand through the scriptures that the Edomites, the so-called white people upon this earth, they had a certain history of being very similar to that of what they themselves promote to be Neanderthal. Neanderthal. This is the life, that Esau basically started off with. You see, and that can be found in the book of Job. Let me grab that as well for edification's sake. This is Job chapter 30. And it says, verse 1, "But now they that are younger than I have me in derision, whose fathers I would have disdained to set with the dogs of my flock." So here Job is saying those that are younger than I, which the word younger goes into less worth or less in value. Let's go to the word younger. Uh, and it says little insignificant young, little insignificant mean young, younger, youngest. You see those that are insignificant, less worth than us, because we understand that Job, he was an Israelite, and who Job is referring to are Edomites. They are the most basest people upon this earth, which means they're the lowest people upon the earth. This is Daniel from Daniel 4 verse 17. Yep. This is Daniel chapter 4 verse 17. This matters by the decree of the watchers and the demand by the word of the holy ones, to the intent that the living may know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of man, and giveth to whomsoever he will, and setteth over it the basest of man. So here Daniel is actually explaining us that it's the Most High that is in control upon this earth, and he gives the rulership to whosoever the Most High wants to be in rulership. And according to biblical prophecy, eventually these so-called white people were the ones to be set up over us, which they were set up over us during the Greek Empire, during the Roman Empire, but now they're also in rulership during this revived Roman Empire. You see, and they're being referred to as the basest of men because of where they came from. Back to Job chapter 30, verse 2. Yea, whereto might the strength of their hands profit me, in whom old age was perished. So Job is actually, asking himself, like, what have they to offer me? What are they able to do for me? You're seeing where they come from. You see, verse 3. For want and famine they were solitary, fleeing into the wilderness, in former time desolate and waste. So they were actually residing, in the wilderness, man. That's where their place, um, was, the mountains, the wilderness. Verse 4. Who cut up mallows by the bushes and juniper roots for their meat. And this is what they ate. They ate, the little vegetation and the wheats, the flowers. They were sitting there, you know, um, um, next to the bushes, eating their roots. Verse 5. They were driven forth among men. They cried after them as after a thief. So once they would be in the surrounding of these people, that were more sophisticated than them, they will be driven out as if you were crying after thief, like, "Ah, ah, ah, get away, get away, get away." Why? Because as Job also said in the first verse, they had something, concerning bestiality, man. They will be the ones to lay down with the animals. They will be the ones to invade your private space, man, and do crazy things. You see, verse 6. To dwell in the cliffs of the valleys, in the caves of the earth, and in the rocks. That was their habitation. That's where they resided, man, in the wilderness. In the cliffs of the rock, in the mountains. And an example of that is for instance Mount Petra. You see, which, first the Hamites used to live there, but eventually they took over, or through the spirit of power of Yahawashi, they were given the opportunity to live there. You see, so they're the ones that live in these cliffs of the valleys, in the caves of the earth, and in the rocks. And if we look upon this earth in this day and age, we see that same spirit coming back, because they're the ones that have the power to build these apartment buildings, man. And they're made out of brick and made out of stone, man. And they can be created in all kind of heights. See, which that also is similar to the way that they used to live back in the days. Verse 7. Among the bushes they braid, under the nettles they would gather together. And what does it mean to braid? It means to make sounds like a donkey. You see, so when they were just sitting there, together, they were like, and I made a couple of videos about it as well. And in one of those videos, I mentioned how my colleagues at my former job, where I was an order picker, they used to make those sounds, at the workplace, man. And I was like, man, that really shows you the spirit of these Edomites, man. You see, and that's what they were doing. You see, verse 8. They were children of fools, yea, children of base man. They were vilder than the earth. That's what they are, man. They're fools. They're lowest upon this earth, and they are very dirty, man. You know, they're very dirty people. So to go back, to Liver King, who says that uh, when it says the Liver King has dedicated the past 20 years to reviving the primal pattern that progressed the soul surviving species of genus Homo. Liver King is an evolutionary hunter, a serial entrepreneur by nature, with a singular focus to honor our ancestors, to teach, preach, and mother the ancestral message so that it becomes mainstream. The primals don't have to suffer and struggle unnecessarily. And it's very fun that he brings this out, being an Edomite, because who are his ancestors? You see, his ancestors are, the Edomites, man. You know, and if we go to the word of ancestral meaning, it says of belonging to or inherited from an ancestor or ancestors. So what do we mean by ancestral? It says of relating to or inherited from an ancestral state. You see, so something that you have inherited. And what did they, inherit? They inherited the same spirit that Esau came in. You see, they inherited the same spirit of Esau. You see, they was born unto Isaac and Rebekah, who was the twin brother of our forefather Jacob, who is the patriarch of the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel. You see? So these Edomites, they have their ancestor, the things that they inherited from them, and we have our ancestors, the things that we have inherited from our ancestors, you see? So let me see if there's more. Otherwise, I'm going to go into the scriptures and show you a couple of things concerning, Brian Johnson, who calls himself Liver King. It says ancestral living was discovered not out of choice, but necessity. At the roots of today's suffering, therein lies tremendous friction between modern environments and our biology. Our ancestors had it right. Many years before us, they identified a simple, elegant way of living that enabled us to genetically express the highest version of ourselves. So there's not much information on that, but a couple of things were brought out through the spirit, um, because I haven't really delved into his website that much. Watched a couple of videos on him. Also went through his Instagram, and we go to his Instagram and we can see what he promotes. Let me see if this video wants to play. And I'm on imgen.com, which enables me to not be logged in on Instagram to watch and play videos and watch photos.
Looking here, this is what live.
No, doesn't really want to play. But what I'm gonna do then? So, let me go to my phone then and just play that video. So y'all can still hear the so y'all can still hear the message that he's talking about.
Looking here, this is what live. Right here. I have a Liver King concoction. I got one of my salads. That's a carnivore salad. That's pork rind. And I got a bowl of carbs here. And as you can see, Liver Queen and Liver Boys are having the same thing, just lesser quantity. This is what Liver King and Liver Family have for today.
So what he has for breakfast, the first thing that he that stands out is the fact that he says that he has ground up ribeye or something. But if you look at the plate, it's raw. It's completely raw. You see, which means that it's uncooked. It still has the blood therein. And we understand through the scriptures that we Israelites, we were commanded not to eat the flesh or the flesh with the blood therein, because scriptures explains us that the life is in the blood, you see. So let me grab a couple of scriptures and then Yartazah. We're also going a little bit more into his Instagram. But it says, this is Genesis chapter 25, verse, let me start at verse 21. And Isaac entreated the Lord Yahuwah for his wife, because she was barren, and the Lord Yahuwah was entreated of him, and Rebekah his wife conceived. So, Isaac, his wife Rebekah, she couldn't get pregnant, our forefather. And he prayed to the Heavenly Father that she, will be able to receive children. And the Most High heard him, and eventually she was able to get pregnant. Verse 22, and the children struggled together within her, and she said, if it be so, why am I thus? And she went to inquire of the Lord Yahuwah. So eventually she got pregnant, but she was, questioning herself, if I'm pregnant, and then, why is this going on within my, within my belly? Why is this happening? Verse 22, and the children struggle within her. So 23, and the Lord Yahuwah said unto her, the nations are in thy womb, and two manner of people shall be separated from their bowels, and the one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger. So the Most High explained her, like, you're going to bring forth two different nations. They're going to be different from each other. You see, one shall be stronger, which referring to Israel, and the elder shall serve the younger, which means that Esau shall eventually serve Jacob. You see, that's gonna happen, in the kingdom. You see, for 1,000 years, and then they're gonna be exterminated. You see, but this is also this was also a foreshadowing, of the relationship that we as Israelites would have with Esau, who is our twin brother. You see, we would always, be at war with each other. You see, verse 24, and when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb. And the first came out red all over like an hairy garment, and they called his name Esau, which is Joshua. So by the time that she, was about to deliver her children, when the first came out, they noticed something about him. He was red all over. And they compared the pigmentation of his skin towards the garments that they used to have back in those days, which they used to dye red. Or well, they used to dye it in different colors, but they compared it to the one that they would dye red. And they called his name Joshua, which means wasted way, because because of the skin pigment, because of him lacking skin pigmentation, they were able to see the red through his skin. You see, verse 26. And after that came his brother out, in his hand took hold on Esau's heel, and his name was called Jacob. And Isaac was 60 years old when she bare him. So when Jacob came out, they didn't mention anything about his skin color. Why? Because he came out just looking like he was supposed to. And this is a small example of what happened during the time. And if you look at the upper region of the picture, you can see two dark-skinned people with two children. You see, one of them, looks like a so-called white person, which actually he came out albino. See, and that's what happened with Esau. At the bottom, you can see, why it's said that he came out red all over, because they're not actually white people; they're red people. You see, so if these people sit in the sun, if they perform exercise, get cold, drink alcohol, their skin starts to turn more red. You see, and if we go to Liver King, where is this picture? If we go and look at this man, for instance, this picture, man, this man is red. This man is red. You see, he's a red Edomite. You see what I mean? This man is just red. Here you see him drinking blood. Crazy type of things, man. So reading on in Genesis chapter 25 and verse 27, and the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter, a man of the field, and Jacob was a plain man, dwelling in tents. You see, so here we have another description of Esau, something that is in relationship to his characteristics towards his personality. Going back to the word ancestral, it says of belonging to or inherited from an ancestor or ancestors. And what did they inherit from the forefather Esau? They inherited that same spirit. So understanding that Esau was a cunning hunter, a man of the field, we understand that he's someone that likes to go out and hunt. So this is what they like to do in their spare time. They like to go for buck hunting, or they like to shoot other animals, for fun or for game. You see. And let me see. This is a video of him,
And
preparing, um, basically performing a ritual before going to hunt. Let's see where it is. Here we see the gun, um, which is being anointed with like what is it? With with sage or something. And then eventually see him go, out in the field to hunt. Your desire, this does not have any copyright information because it is just for educational purposes only. To bring out edification, concerning who these people are that, call themselves so-called white people, who are actually the biblical Edomites or the red people the Bible mentions. So here we see him, hunting, and he's about to shoot his deer. Boom. Boom. You see. So that's within their spirit, man. That's within their spirit to do these things, man. To be a hunter. Jacob was a plain man dwelling in tents, man. That means that he's like someone that likes to chill at home, but also he's a man that likes to be spiritual. Because if you go to that word tent, it says, what is it? Ahai, and it says, nomad stand and thus symbolic of wilderness life, transitions, dwelling home, habitation, the sacred tent of Yahawah, the tabernacle. You see? Being a spiritual man. Verse 28, and Isaac loved Esau because he did eat of his venison, but Rebekah loved Jacob. And the word venison, if you would type in venison on Google, what is venison? Um, it says, actually, it says meat from a deer, venison steaks. If we look it up, what the word venison means, which goes into Taziyat, it says hunting game hunted, provision, food supply. Hunter, that which he took in hunting. Venison, victuals. You see? So our forefather Isaac, he loved Jacob because he brought home, game, and then eventually, um, that was presented before him, that he could eat it. And it says, but Rebekah loved Jacob. Verse 29. And Jacob sought pottage, and Esau came from the field, and he was faint. So our forefather Jacob, he was cooking, and Esau came from the field because he was hunting, and eventually was very tired of the hunt. And it says, and Esau said to Jacob, feed me, I pray thee, with that same red pottage, for I am faint. Therefore was his name called Edom, which the word Edom, Adam, actually goes into red. But here it says, it says red. Adam, red. Why? Because they're red people and they like to have their meat red. And when we go back to the Liver King over here, man, this, I don't know what it is that he's eating here, but let me see. I might be able to play it this time. Nope. It won't allow me to play it. But let me grab my phone. Then I'll play it with the phone.
Lurking there. I get a decent amount of DMs. Delicious.
You see, so he says that he would like that he likes to have blood and bone for dessert instead of milk and cookies. So what you're seeing here right now is bone and blood. That's what he eats. You see, and here you see him drink the blood. You know, here's the so here he's drinking blood when he's in Africa. Like, I'm correct. Let me this is I'm correct. It is cow's blood, which they drain that blood from an artery and then they close it up again. And this is him eating raw organ meat. You see, there's else. This man, he eats raw, man. You know, the first video that I showed you of him, and I also showed you that he ate the raw ribeye, man. Oh, here again. Here again, the man eating raw meats. You know. So it says back to Genesis chapter 25, verse 31. And Jacob said, "Sell me this day thy birthright." And Esau said, "Behold, I'm at the point to die. And what profit shall this birthright do to me?" Because the birthright was according to the birth. You know, if you would be the first one to be born, you would get the greater blessing. So we understand Jacob was born, you know, after Esau. But Jacob was smart about it and he said, "Yeah, okay, I'm going to give you the food, but sell me your birthright, man. Sell me that first blessing, man, that you would receive because you were the firstborn." You know, and Esau was like, "Yeah, okay, cool, cow. You know, what am I able to do with that birthright, man, if I'm going to die at this moment?" You see? Verse 33. And Jacob said, "Swear to me this day." And he swore unto him, and he sold his birthright unto Jacob. Then Jacob gave Esau bread and pottage of lentils, and he did eat and drink, and rose up and went his way. Thus Esau despised his birthright. There's a precept on that, showing you that it was actually meat that he ate. This is Hebrews chapter 12, verse 16. Lest there be any fornicator or profane person as Esau, who for one morsel of meat sold his birthright. See, we understand that Esau is profane, which means he's ungodly outside the temple. He has nothing to do with the truth, nothing to do with the scriptures. You see, and he sold his birthright for a morsel of meat. You know, so actually that meal would consist of like meats and beans, like how you say that, um, like a stew. It's like a stew. Um, Also, if you look at this man, his house in the background of his videos, the thing that he's doing in his spare time. Look at this house, boom. Him hunting again. You can see this man is balling, man, and he's also uh, very fond of guns. He's very fond of guns, man. Which we understand through the scriptures that this is something that has been given unto Esau, for a limited of time. This is Genesis 27, and starting at verse 38. And Esau said unto his father, "Hast thou but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also, O my father." And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. Jacob, he supplanted Esau out of his birthright, which, the blessing, that Jacob received, was actually for Esau. But we understand, that Esau sold his birthright. We understand that he sold it. So through the Spirit, it came to pass that Jacob received the greater blessing, by his father, by supplanting him, which you can read in Genesis chapter 27 for yourself. But eventually Esau, he came to find out, and he was begging his father, still give me one blessing. And eventually Isaac, he made, our people, Jacob, the Israelites, eventually to be lords over Esau and over the other nations, which is going to happen in the kingdom. This is Genesis chapter 27, verse 38. And Esau said unto his father, hast thou but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. Because he came to find out, like, shit, what I did was stupid, man. I sold my birthright. Verse 39. And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, behold, thy dwelling should be the fatness of the earth, and of the dew of heaven from above. Meaning that these people would be very prosperous. They would possess the best place upon this earth. They would be very rich and wealthy, which is something that we see happening right now. That's why this man is balling, man. This man has money, his riches. He can do all kind of things that he wants, man. He can travel as many times as he wants. He can go to Africa. He has an ice bath or jacuzzi somewhere in his backyard or something. This man is balling, man. So, like I mentioned, this video is showing you how Liver King, really shows forth that spirit of Esau. See, so Liver King is a prime example of an Edomite. That's also one of the first things that came in my mind when I saw this man. Like, hey, this man is an Edomite, man, to the maximus. Really shows you forth the spirit that they're coming. This is for verse 40. And by the sword shalt thou live, and shalt serve thy brother. And it shall come to pass, when thou shalt have the dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. See, because we had them in captivity, in the past as well. You see, but it also says that the blessing, one of their blessings shall be the blessing of the sword, which is the gun, the modern day weaponry is the gun. But back in the days, it will be the sword, by which they conquered, all these nations and lands and countries. So let me see, a couple of guns. Let him show the guns, man. Guns. Let me see. Show your weapon, man. Show your weapon. And this was the weapon of choice. The weapon of choice. The spear. The ancestral weapon. See, wants to talk about it. Here you have let's say it, an axe. Opa, tank. So yeah, let me see. A couple of pictures. Boom. With the ammunition in the tank. With the gun, probably an M4. And with the truck, being real proud of, here with the spear, ancestral weaponry, gun, the heavy machine gun. You see, so that really shows you forth the spirit that they come in, man. So yeah, meet Liver King, man. The man that is really showing you the spirit that Esau has upon him. Eating raw meat, being a hunter, going out in the field shooting animals, having the blessing of the sword, being rich. You see, this man, you know, has all those traits. You see, so Yahartazah, this lesson was edifying, and I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham Rawchaa Qadash. Double honors to the elder apostles of Great Millstone who teach and rule well, and Shalom to the sincere Akim spreading truth and sincerity.